Stop scrolling. Right now. Because what you're about to hear is not just another music update, this is a global shockwave. Welcome back to Jikook Lover, the channel where we dive deep into every record, every mystery, and every explosive moment surrounding your favorites. Before we go any further, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe right now because this story, it's about to get wild. This isn't just about numbers. This isn't just about streaming. This is about history being rewritten in real time. Are you ready? Because Jimin of BTS breaks Spotify records again. Face screaming in fear fire. The world froze for a second. Timelines exploded. Notifications wouldn't stop. And once again, one name rose above the noise, Jimin of BTS. But here's the strange part. Haven't we seen this before? Haven't we already watched him break records? Haven't we already witnessed headlines declaring him unstoppable? So why does this feel different? Why does this feel bigger? Louder? Almost unreal? Because this time, the numbers don't just impress, they intimidate. 2.3 billion streams for who? 3.8 billion streams for Muse. Let that sink in. In an industry where songs rise and fall within weeks, where viral hits burn bright and disappear just as fast, where massive collaborations and million-dollar promotional campaigns dominate the charts, how does a solo track sustain power for 581 days and still keep climbing? No massive Western feature, no endless media circus, no constant controversy, just music, just impact, just a name that refuses to fade. Spotify is not just a platform, it is a battlefield. Algorithms are ruthless, playlists are competitive, attention spans are short. If a song cannot survive the rotation, it vanishes. Yet, who didn't just survive, it endured. It stabilized. It grew. Quietly, relentlessly. And then, suddenly, the number appeared. 2.3 billion. For many artists, reaching a billion is a career-defining milestone. For some, it is the peak. But here, we are talking about multiple billions. We are talking about sustained global streaming across continents, cultures, and languages. We are talking about a soloist from Asia competing and winning in a system historically dominated by Western acts. Industry analysts are whispering, is this fan power alone? Is this algorithmic momentum? Or is this a cultural shift we are only beginning to understand? Because let's be honest, not every superstar group member can successfully transition into solo dominance. Expectations are brutal. Comparisons are inevitable. Doubt is loud. When you debut solo after being part of one of the biggest groups in the world, the spotlight doesn't get smaller. It gets harsher. Can he stand alone? Will the world care? Is this sustainable? Those questions once floated around quietly. Today, they sound outdated. Who didn't just spike at release and fade. It held its ground for 581 days. It climbed. It resisted. It proved that longevity may be the most powerful flex of all. And then there's Muse. 3.8 billion streams. That's not a fluke. That's not a lucky wave. That's momentum turning into legacy. And now the bigger question emerges. Is this the ceiling? Or is this the beginning of something even larger? Because every time the industry thinks it has measured the limit moves. Every time a milestone is reached, another one appears on the horizon. If 2.3 billion is possible without constant high-profile collaborations, what happens with the next release? If 3.8 billion is already reality, what does the next era look like? Streaming has reshaped the definition of global success. Language barriers are dissolving. Fan communities are mobilizing across time zones. Cultural influence is no longer confined by geography. But even within this new landscape, very few artists achieve sustained multi-billion milestones as solo acts. So what makes this different? Is it emotional connection? Is it branding genius? Is it timing? Or is it something intangible, that rare magnetic pull that turns listeners into loyal supporters? Critics might argue that strong fandom drives streaming. But isn't that, in itself, a testament to impact? The ability to inspire millions to return, replay, and relive a song for nearly 2 years is not accidental. That level of emotional attachment cannot be manufactured overnight. Meanwhile, global charts reflect consistency. Not a one-week surge, not a temporary spike. A pattern, a presence, a steady pulse. And as celebration floods social media, a new layer of pressure quietly forms. Because with every broken record comes expectation. After 2.3 billion, people ask about 3 billion. After 3.8 billion, people whisper about 4. After that, what's next? History shows us something important. Momentum, when sustained, becomes inevitability. So now we arrive at the question that's dividing fans, analysts, and even industry insiders. Are we witnessing the rise of the most dominant Asian soloist in the streaming era? Or are we underestimating just how far this trajectory can go? Because if this is already considered insane, what word will we use when the next record falls? Tell me, is this peak dominance, or are we only watching the first chapter of something even more unstoppable? And this is where the atmosphere shifts from celebration to anticipation. Because history has a pattern. The moment an artist proves something once, the world calls it impressive. The second time, they call it consistency. The third time, they start calling it inevitability. And that's the word quietly circling right now. Inevitability. When Who crossed 2.3 billion streams, it didn't just mark a milestone. It reinforced a narrative that has been building for years. A narrative that suggests this isn't accidental momentum. It isn't a lucky viral cycle. It isn't a temporary surge fueled by curiosity. It is sustained global consumption. Think about what 581 days really means in streaming culture. Trends on TikTok last week's. Viral audio clips rotate in and out within months. Entire microgenres explode and disappear before casual listeners can even name them. And yet, nearly 2 years later, listeners are still pressing play. Why? Is it the emotional resonance embedded in the melody, the vulnerability in the vocal delivery, the relatability of the lyrics? Or is it something less measurable, a connection that statistics cannot fully explain? Meanwhile, Muse pushing toward 3.8 billion streams raises the stakes even higher. Because at that level, you are no longer competing within a niche. You are operating in the same numerical universe as the biggest global pop phenomena of the decade. You are sharing space with the most aggressively promoted releases in modern music history. And here's the twist that makes analysts pause. These numbers were not built overnight. They were accumulated through consistency, through replay value, through emotional longevity. In boardrooms across the industry, executives study patterns. They study retention curves. They study skip rates. They study listener behavior. And when a track continues to generate daily streams hundreds of days after release, it signals something powerful. The song has moved beyond hype and into habit. Habit is everything in streaming. A song that becomes part of someone's daily life, their commute, their late-night playlist, their workout mix, their heartbreak loop, becomes nearly impossible to replace. It stops being new music and starts becoming personal soundtrack. And perhaps that is the secret no one is saying out loud. Because fandom alone can spark a debut, but habit sustains billions. So now the conversation evolves. It's no longer about whether he can stand as a soloist. That debate has dissolved. It's no longer about whether he can compete globally. The numbers have answered that. The real question is scale. How big can this get? Could the next project debut at even higher daily streaming averages? Could future releases break opening week records before critics even finish their think pieces? Could we see a solo tour that mirrors, or even redefines, expectations for what a K-pop solo act can achieve internationally? The streaming era has rewritten the rules of dominance. And right now, every data point suggests that this trajectory is not slowing down. It's stabilizing at a high altitude. But here's the most unsettling thought of all.